Well, everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the iPhone 16 Plus and compare it against the iPhone 12 and see which particular phone is the better one for you. Now, the thing I would definitely tell you about both these phones and not watches is that they're both great phones that Apple has made. If you have all the money in the world, then it clearly makes a lot more sense to go and buy something like an iPhone 16 Plus. That is a substantially better phone in almost every single way, but I would probably say the iPhone 12 for a lot of people is still also like a pretty decent option, right? The iPhone 12 isn't really perfect, but I would probably say that that phone still makes a lot of sense to go and buy too for some people out there as well. So just kind of take that as you will. If you want to pick up any phone that I would recommend buying though throughout this whole entire video or just in general, links will be down in the description. You can basically get them from there and you can help support the channel at the exact same time. Now, starting off with the outside of both these phones, the iPhone 12 on the front side is giving you a 6.1-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display. And this type of panel, I think is a fairly decent panel still in this day and age. It's 60 Hz. It doesn't really get the brightest, but I think it kind of gets the job done. I think if you're going to go through and pick up a device, these types of panels still hold up fairly well. And I do think that's a nice thing going on for this type of phone. Again, it really isn't a perfect panel and there's obvious issues with these types of screens, but I do think for this day and age, it still kind of gets the job done. And I do think if you're going to go through and pick up a phone, it's not a bad phone panel by any means necessary. On the iPhone 16 Plus, this is a little bit different. So this is a 6.7-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display. So that's number one, right? Number two, the thing going on for this particular phone is that it's a panel that came out in 2024. At least with the iPhone 12, it came out 4 years ago, so you can kind of give it that, benefit of the doubt. The iPhone 16 Plus came out, it just came out right now. So I feel like for that phone not giving you a 60 Hz panel, or not giving you a 120 Hz panel is kind of a big deal in my personal opinion. That is kind of a big downside. So I do think from that in and of itself, that is kind of a big thing to kind of keep in mind there for this type of panel. Again, it's not the biggest deal in the world, but that it was just one other thing that I did notice there from that side. Now, the iPhone 16 Plus is giving you the action button and the camera button, which is nice, and I think it's a good thing. But the biggest difference is the USB Type-C port versus the Lightning port on the bottom. The fact that the iPhone 16 Plus is giving you USB-C is really cool. That in and of itself is a really, really nice feature to have. And me personally, if I'm going to go through and pick up a phone, I think that is a big advantage of basically being able to go through. Being able to buy a phone like the iPhone 16 Plus and getting that type of capability, I think is a really, really nice thing going on for that phone. On the back side, the iPhone 16 Plus is basically giving you a frosted glass back, where the iPhone 12 is giving you a glass back. So I do think when you're looking at both, it is really nice going through and being able to have a phone like the iPhone 16 Plus that's basically going to be giving you that better type of styling. So I do think the 16 Plus is a way better feeling phone. If you're going to go through and pick up a phone, once again, it makes a lot more sense to go and buy something like the iPhone 16 Plus at this point than something like the iPhone 12, basically in almost every single way you can imagine. I would say from a majority of other things going on for these phones too, you're probably going to be able to get phones on both that are very good, very powerful, and that's something I love about both these devices. But if you are wanting the phone that's going to be giving you the overall better experience on the exterior, it definitely is going to be something like the iPhone 16 Plus. So from that side, that kind of covers it up there. Now, another very big thing to keep in mind here too is that the iPhone 16 Plus is going to be one of those phones that is going to be more expensive. So that device is going to be a more expensive device. The iPhone 12 really is not going to be costing that much, probably around $200-ish. The iPhone 16 Plus is, going to be substantially, more expensive. So if you are wanting the phone that's going to be a cheaper phone, once again, something like the iPhone 16 Plus is not going to be the one for you. That's going to be a more expensive device when it comes down to it. So from that side, that kind of covers it up there too. Now on the back side, both are basically giving you dual camera setups. So I love being able to go through and buy these types of phones that's basically going to be giving me these types of cameras. So I think that is a kind of a nice thing going on here. But a big thing to keep in mind here too is that both of these phones are just a tiny bit different. So the iPhone 16 Plus and the iPhone 12 surprisingly can film in the exact same resolutions. So that is actually something that's kind of impressive here, like the fact that the iPhone 16 Plus and the iPhone 12 from so many years ago basically still have the same exact resolutions they can film in. So I think that's pretty crazy. On top of that, they're both giving you almost the same type of feature set. I'm going to be honest, right? There's really not a whole lot that's really, really different here. So that is kind of, I would say, a disadvantage for, the iPhone 16 Plus more so than the iPhone 12. The big advantage here though is that you are getting twice the amount of zooming in instead of the iPhone 16 Plus. So that is kind of a nice thing going on for that type of phone. You're basically able to go through and buy a phone on the iPhone 16 Plus that is basically going to be essentially, a better performing device from a camera perspective because it does allow you to zoom in twice as much. So 2x zoom there versus 1x zoom. I would probably say from that perspective, that is kind of a big advantage there. So personally for me, if I'm going to go through and pick up a phone, that is a big advantage here, and that's something I actually really do appreciate with something like the iPhone, 16 Plus. So other than that, there's really not too many other differences, to be honest, but that's kind of how I see both these devices from that side. Now, on top of that, some other big things to keep in mind here too is that between both, I would probably say that the iPhone 16 Plus, without a doubt, is going to be the phone that's going to be lasting for a much longer period of time. So if you're wanting the iPhone that's going to last for a longer period of time, it's by far in almost every single way is going to be the iPhone 16 Plus. So that phone is going to be lasting for many, many years to come. And I do think that's a really big advantage for that type of device, right? If you're going to go through and pick up a phone, it makes a lot more sense to go and buy something like an iPhone 16 Plus rather than an iPhone 12. So I do think this in and of itself is a very big deal. Otherwise, they're both giving you pretty good long-lasting phones. The iPhone 12 is still supported with software, so not too many differences from that perspective. But I would probably say, once again, if you're wanting the longer-lasting phone, it definitely is going to be something like the iPhone 16 Plus. Now, beyond that, some other big things to keep in mind there too is that with both of these phones, they're both very good devices. I like them a lot. But from a battery life perspective, the iPhone 12 really didn't do that well here. The iPhone 12 is giving you 17 hours of video playback from Apple's test, where the iPhone 16 Plus is giving you 27 hours of video playback. So this right there is a very, very big difference. Like, I do like having these types of phones that are, once again, basically going to be giving you that type of performance level. Like, I do think, and that is a very nice thing, being able to go through and pick up a phone and having that type of level set, it's very nice. I will say, on the other hand, with something like the iPhone 16 Plus, this type of phone is going to be giving you the Apple A18 chip inside of it with 8GB of RAM, where the iPhone 12 is giving you that Apple A14 Bionic chip inside of it with 4GB of RAM. So if you are wanting the phone, once again, that's going to be giving you an overall better experience, something like an iPhone 16 is probably, once again, going to be the overall better one here when it comes down to it. The iPhone 14s are very good devices. The iPhone 12s are very good devices. I like them a lot, and they are very, very fast. But if you are wanting the phone that's going to be giving you the overall faster experience, it is going to be the iPhone 16 Plus every single day of the week, without a doubt. So to kind of sum up this whole entire video, what I would definitely tell you is that if you're going to go through and pick up a device, I generally do think that you cannot go wrong with the iPhone 16 Plus. It's one of the best phones you can basically buy. It is a no-brainer, and if you're going to go through and pick up a phone, it makes so much sense to go ahead and buy a phone like the iPhone 16 Plus. Better display, better performance, better power, better cameras, better basically everything across the board. That's the one that I look at as basically being the top tier one. With something like the iPhone 12, I do think this is a very, very good phone. I like that phone a lot, but it's probably not worth buying for the everyday average person. You're better off buying something that's kind of in the middle of both of these. So I think maybe something like an iPhone 13 Pro would be really good. The iPhone 14 Pro or 14 Pro Max, I think, would be very solid devices. So take it as you will, but that's kind of how I see both these devices holding up, comparing against one another. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.